The envelope was wrinkled and stained with what looked like grape juice. It had been addressed in wobbly handwriting to Santa Claus at the North Pole, but somehow ended up on Mayor Patricia Henderson's desk on a gray December morning. She almost threw it away with the stack of holiday cards from local businesses. But something made her pause. Maybe it was the way the letters leaned hopefully across the page, or the small heart drawn next to the return address. Patricia opened it and began to read. By the third sentence, her coffee had gone cold in her hand. By the last word, she had made a decision that would change everything. 3 weeks earlier, Thomas Brennan had stood in his supervisor's office at Riverside Manufacturing watching 22 years of loyalty evaporate in a 5-minute conversation. The plant was downsizing. His position was being eliminated. They were sorry. It was nothing personal. Just business. He could finish out the week. Thomas heard the words, but they seemed to come from very far away. All he could think about was his daughter, Lily, waiting at home with a list of Christmas wishes she had been carefully editing for weeks. All he could think about was the empty chair at their dinner table, where his wife Claire used to sit before cancer had taken her just 18 months ago. That night, Thomas sat at the kitchen table with bills spread out like fallen leaves. The mortgage payment was due in 2 weeks. Lily's school supplies needed replenishing. The car was making a sound that promised expensive repairs. He had some savings, but not enough to carry them for long. He had sent out 7 job applications already, but the responses had been either silence or polite rejections. December was not a time when companies were eager to hire. He rubbed his eyes and tried to imagine how he would explain this to his 8-year-old daughter who had already lost so much. Lily had been drawing at the counter behind him. She was always drawing. Pictures of families holding hands. Pictures of houses with smoke curling from chimneys. Pictures of her mother with angel wings. Thomas had framed several of them around their small apartment as reminders that beauty could exist even in grief. Now Lily climbed down from her stool and brought him a picture of a Christmas tree surrounded by presents. "Dad, look what I made for our living room," she said. Thomas pulled her onto his lap and held her close. She smelled like strawberry shampoo and crayons. "You know, sweetheart," he began carefully, "this Christmas might be a little different. We might not be able to get everything on your list, but we'll still be together, and that's what matters most. Right?" Lily looked up at him with Claire's green eyes. "I know, Daddy," she said. "I already wrote to Santa and told him we don't need much. Just the important stuff." Thomas felt something crack inside his chest. "What did you tell him, honey?" Lily smiled. "It's a secret. But I mailed it yesterday at school. Don't worry, everything's going to be okay." Thomas wanted to believe her. He wanted to believe in the magic she still carried so effortlessly. Instead, he just kissed the top of her head and promised they would decorate their little apartment until it shone brighter than any house on their street. He did not know that Lily's letter had been collected by a mail carrier named George, who recognized the North Pole address and nearly tossed it in the dead letter bin. He did not know that George had instead read it during his lunch break and been so moved that he had driven it personally to City Hall after his shift. He did not know that his daughter's words were about to set something extraordinary in motion. Mayor Henderson read the letter 3 times. "Dear Santa, my name is Lily Brennan and I am 8 years old. I know you're very busy, but I wanted to tell you about my dad. His name is Thomas and he's the best dad in the whole world. He makes me breakfast every morning even when he's tired. He helps me with homework even when it's hard. He reads me stories about Mom so I won't forget her voice. He lost his job before Christmas, and I know he's scared even though he pretends he's not. I don't need toys this year, but could you please help my dad find work? And maybe bring us some groceries. And if you have any extra magic, could you make him smile again like he used to? Thank you, Santa. I believe in you. Love, Lily." Patricia Henderson had been mayor for 6 years. She had cut ribbons and approved budgets and navigated political battles. But she had never encountered anything quite like this. She picked up her phone and called her assistant. "Get me the head of human resources," she said. "Then call our community outreach coordinator. And find out who Thomas Brennan is and how we can help him. We have work to do." By the next afternoon, Patricia had made 15 calls. She discovered that Thomas had an impeccable work record and a background in manufacturing and logistics. She learned that he was liked in his neighborhood and volunteered at Lily's school whenever he could. She found out that his wife had passed away and that he was raising his daughter alone with quiet dignity. She also learned that the city's public works department had an opening for an operations supervisor. The position had been posted for 3 weeks with few qualified applicants. Thomas Brennan was more than qualified. Patricia did not want this to feel like charity. She wanted it to feel like opportunity. So she arranged for Thomas to receive a call about the job interview, without any mention of the letter. She worked with local businesses to assemble gift baskets through the city's holiday assistance program. She contacted the school district to ensure Lily would have everything she needed. And she planned something else, something that would remind a little girl that kindness was the most powerful magic of all. Thomas went to the interview not daring to hope too much, but the moment he started talking about his experience, something shifted in the room. The department heads asked thoughtful questions. They nodded at his answers. They seemed genuinely interested in what he could bring to their team. By the end of the hour, they offered him the position. The salary was more than he had made at the plant. The benefits included health insurance and tuition assistance. Thomas felt tears prick his eyes and had to excuse himself for a moment to compose himself in the hallway. He got the call 2 days before Christmas. He would start the first week of January. Thomas hung up the phone and sat down hard on the couch. Then he started laughing. Then he started crying. Then he called for Lily and swung her around the kitchen until they were both dizzy. "We're going to be okay," he told her. "We're really going to be okay." Lily hugged him tight. "I told you, Daddy," she whispered. "I told Santa and he listened." On Christmas Eve, there was a knock at their door. Thomas opened it to find Mayor Henderson standing on his doorstep with several volunteers carrying boxes. "Mr. Brennan," she said warmly, "I hope you don't mind the intrusion, but someone very special sent us on a mission." She handed Lily a large envelope with her name on it. Inside was a letter on official city stationery. "Dear Lily, thank you for your letter. Santa asked me to help because your wish was so important. Your dad got his new job because he earned it through hard work and character. But you made sure the right people knew about him at the right time. That's the real magic. Never stop believing in kindness. Signed, Mayor Patricia Henderson and a friend from the North Pole." Lily read it twice, then looked up at her father with shining eyes. The volunteers brought in boxes of food and wrapped presents and a small Christmas tree with lights already strung. Thomas tried to thank them, but his voice kept breaking. Patricia squeezed his shoulder. "Your daughter reminded me why I do this job," she said quietly. She reminded a whole lot of people what Christmas is really about. Merry Christmas, Thomas. That night, after Lily had fallen asleep clutching a new stuffed reindeer, Thomas stood by her bed and watched her breathe. He thought about Claire and how proud she would be of their brave little girl. He thought about second chances and the grace of strangers. He thought about how one small letter written in hope had traveled further than any North Pole address. And he understood that sometimes the greatest gifts come not from what we receive, but from having the courage to ask for help and the willingness to believe that goodness still exists in the world. Because it does, in city halls and mail trucks, in neighbors and mayors, in daughters who write letters and fathers who keep going even when everything feels impossible. The light still finds us if we leave the door open. The magic still works if we choose to believe. And sometimes that's all Santa really needs to change everything. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Pure Kindness Stories. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that compassion is alive and well in this world. Because every act of kindness ripples outward in ways we cannot measure. And every person who chooses hope over despair makes the world a little brighter for us all. Thank you for watching, and may your own life be filled with unexpected grace.